Hey everybody, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of the video series Basic Airbrushing of an EPP plane. We're going to call it 101. So what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to talk about the airbrush. The paint, as I said before, I'm just using the apple barrel water-based acrylic paint from Michaels. What you're going to need for this step is your airbrush and your compressor, as I showed you before. What we're going to do in this cup, we're going to mix equal parts of paint and water, 50-50 paint and water, and that's the perfect mix for your airbrush. In this container I have some just regular water, and then I'm going to use an old paintbrush here just to stir it up. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually just thin the paint 50-50 so we can put it in our airbrush. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to make sure the airbrush is set up correctly first. And we're going to just do some spray patterns on some paper to make sure the brush is working correctly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get into making a basic template so I can show you how to begin painting your EPP plane. Okay, so we're back, and what I'm going to show you now to do is how to make a basic template that you can use to airbrush. What I'm using here is, this is a blank, this is one of the Slowfly 28 kits that I have for sale on my website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate that cockpit that you saw in the first one. So since I'm going to need to make two templates, I'm going to need to make a template for the left side of the plane and the right side of the plane, and I want them to be identical. I've taken a couple sheets of 8.5-11 paper here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace the top edge of the plane onto the paper here, so you can kind of see what we're doing here, just to get a pattern. Okay, so there's the top edge of the plane. Now what I'm normally going to do when I'm doing cockpits and things like that, what I normally try to do is I freehand two lines here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down from the back edge here. We're going to come down with just a straight edge like this. And you can just freehand this in. And then what I like to do once I've done that is I like to take a ruler, and we'll come up here a little bit. And I like to just draw a straight edge. Remember, this is just a rough drawing here. And then on the front edge of the cowling here, you'll notice this straight edge. This is where it actually meets the fuselage right here, this point, and starts going off here. So that's going to be the front edge of the canopy. And normally what I do is I just put a loop, or like a gradual curve here. Doesn't have to be precise. Okay, so you can see here, that's the basic drawing of the canopy here that I've done. Like this, and then just an edge like that. So we're going to use that as the cutout template to do the canopy. So what I've done is I've drawn this pattern, and I have two pieces of paper here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto blade. Make sure you get a number 1 or brand new X-Acto blade and cut out the pattern here, and then what we'll do is we'll test fit it on the airplane to make sure it looks good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this out. I don't think I need to show you how to do that on the video, so I'm going to cut out the center section here with my brand new number 11 razor blade, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see I've cut out the two templates. What I've done is I've actually marked on them. I have a right side and I have a left side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little mark on the foam so I know where the edge is here, where I want it to be. There. Okay, so as you can see there, that's actually perfectly where I want it to be. Now what I normally do, once I've put it on here, I might put a couple little marks with a pen so I kind of know where I'm going to put it, so when I lay it back it's perfect. Just put them in the corners, at least you'll know like where you're supposed to line it up. That way you know it's right. But you're not going to see this once you spray painted it. So then again, what I'm going to do is, once I've laid them on here, I've already put on here a right and a left. You don't technically need to do that, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the 3M77 spray and I'm going to spray it on the right side of one piece of the paper, and I'm going to spray it on the left side of the other piece of paper, and I'm going to stick these pieces of paper back on the foam. This basically allows me to use the paper here as a template so I can airbrush, so let's do that. Okay, so what I've done now is I've masked off with the paper the left side and the right side, and I actually, the trick I was going to show you is when I sprayed the adhesive on the templates, a little bit of the spray got on the extra pieces of paper, so I'm using those pieces of paper on my model here to prevent overspray. So I've taped off the left side here, and then if I flip it over, I've also taped off the right side here. So to start painting, what we're going to do is, before I start painting the model here, I'll spray some paint just on here again to make sure it's coming out right. So we'll do this. Okay, so now I know it's coming out okay. I'm just going to start slowly going around the outside edge here and slowly building up, going darker and darker. So we'll do that. I'll go through here so you see what I'm doing here. Just go around the outside edge. Just like that. As you see here, I just kept doing a slow circle, getting the paint darker and darker and darker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to do the other side a little bit different here because I don't want the paint to get on my work surface. So I'm going to kind of just hold this in my hand and freehand this side. There we go. There's the left. There's the right. One of the cool parts that's still kind of cool after doing this for so many times is after you've sprayed everything on here is taking all your paper off to see what it looks like. So we'll take the paper off here so you can see this. There we go. So here's a picture of the end result. So I just shot this live. That's a Canopy. I just shot on a super slow 28. That would be the left side. That'll be the right side. So this concludes this part of the video. Next part of the video I'm going to get into doing the checkerboards and squares, and we'll do that. So Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video coming soon.